It was the depth of ice cold and black. Every night at the crossroads, how the moon hit screaming back. You don't heard the stories, so it was no surprise. But at 2 a.m. the man died in the gutter, fire flash in the sky. You never know somebody till you've seen them separate survive. Some people seek salvation from below, others from the sky. The death that died in plain sight. Blood comes with liquor, he's alone, singing, God, I'm the devil, and the devil is going home. Suddenly.
What is going on, guys, and welcome back. The procrastination is over. It's been almost 1 week since my last episode. It's been a busy week, but I'm here. Special episode number 16 of the Fighters Walk podcast. I'm your host, Corey Keene. I told you I had something special in the works. and this is not going to be like one of my normal episodes. I'm taking a page out of the true crime podcasts, mixing it in with fighting and combat sports. It's been, I wanted to do a podcast last night at 12:30, 1 a.m. after I watched this documentary. Quick update. Rachel is in Florida for a bachelorette party. Their flight left they flew out at 5 a.m. So I had to take her to the airport at 3 a.m. So I just didn't go to bed. I stayed up. I just didn't go to bed. So with that, I went on to Netflix. When I went on to Netflix, I wanted to see what was new, what was out. Okay, fair enough. I was looking. What's suggested for you? Did I want to watch a movie? No, I wanted to watch a doc. I'm a big documentary guy. Anything. I'm down to learn anything. I'm not a reader. I don't read books. So documentaries are how I learn stuff now. And the thing about documentaries is you're usually getting one side of the story. And you're going to stick with that side, and that's what you're going to agree with, usually, when you're watching docs. So I see this thing on Netflix. It's like a series. There's a bunch of episodes. I've seen 2 of them, and I'm gonna explain. So I click what's for me. I see Untold. The series is Untold. And I saw Malice at the Palace. I was in like 4th grade when that happened. With the Pacers and the Pistons and just the all-out, not just brawl. It was a goddamn riot. Okay, it was a riot at the Palace, Auburn Hills. So I was locked. I was hooked into that. I'm hooked in. I'm watching it, and I remember being in 4th grade, and parents. Friends' parents, news. I remember those guys on the Pacers being portrayed as thugs, as gangsters. They get paid a shit ton of money and they're going to fight fans and all this nonsense. So, believe it or not, for the past 20 plus years, like 15, 17, about 17 years, give or take, 17 years. For all that time, you remember it. You remember what happened. Jermaine O'Neal squaring up, punching a guy. Ron Artest punching a guy. Jackson just getting into this fight. For all those years, you thought they were thugs and they were gangsters and they were just there to fight. Here's the thing, guys. That documentary opened my eyes to like the shit that actually went on there. And they do the two sides. Like, this doc was amazing. They did two sides. They had O'Neal. They had Meta World Peace, Ron Artest at the time. They had Jackson on the podcast or on the in the documentary. And they had Pistons fans. Now, what I didn't even remember, the Pacers were sick back then. Reggie Miller was on his way out, but he was still balling. They pick up a Jermaine O'Neal. They pick up a Ron Artest. They pick up all these guys to fit the pieces together and be a really good team. So they finally get the guys. The year prior, 03 comes around, and they lose to the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. All right, they lose. It's a hard fought series. There's a pretty rough foul at one of the end of the games with Ron Artest, and that's that. Next year comes around. I think they're like 7-2. They said the Pacers are 7-2 going into Auburn Hills to face the Pistons. Games going Pacers' way. Pacers are balling out. They're doing their thing. They're playing well. And I forget who it was, but someone had told Artest that, hey, you have a foul to give. This is at the end of the game. They're winning by like 15, I think. Hey, you got a foul to give. Of course, he fouls. Ben Wallace. Big Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace is a beast. Huge Ben Wallace fan. Always have been. But anyways, so that ensues the pushing, the shoving, what you kind of like to see in basketball games. All they're jawing at each other, they're chirping. All of a sudden, that's still going on. Big Ben Wallace is throwing his wristbands and headbands at Artest. Artest at one point lays on the scorer's table. He lays on the scorer's table, and he's chilling. He has a therapist at the time. He's taking his 5-second break. He's like, I need to back out. For all these years, I was under the impression. All of a sudden, he gets up. He runs up into the crowd, and he starts beating the shit out of people in the crowd. Not a good look. It's not a good look. You see him running into the crowd, and then Jermaine O'Neal's chasing him in the crowd. Like, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. But what is so special and what's great about this documentary is you have every camera angle that you've never seen before. I've never seen before. Someone fucking threw a cup of something, beer, probably a beer of some sort, and it hits Artest. Fuck yeah, I'm going to go up into the crowd and I'm going to beat the shit out of someone. I'm going to be pissed. Like, come on. And they said it in the doc, like, big game, 20,000 plus people, alcohol's being drank. It's a Friday night, no work on Saturday. You're going to have beers. There's going to be issues, and it's going to happen. But it did not need to get to that point. If that was never thrown, it would have just stopped with the pushing and shoving. Crazy. There were chairs thrown. Dudes coming onto the court, squaring up. Hell yeah. So then you see that. You see the Pistons fans square up Ron Artest pops him. Boom. Drops him. Clean. Boom. Drops him clean. Then Jermaine O'Neal comes running over. Good thing he slides and slips. So he slips and just misses a shot that would have knocked this dude out. This dude was in the documentary too. Not a fan. Dude was an asshole. Claiming he wanted to make money out of the whole thing. It was a shit show. It was a shit show. But 2 days later, Stern comes down. The commissioner suspends Artest for the year. Jermaine O'Neal for like 25 games. Jackson for like 30, 25 games. Like it, I just remember Malice in the Palace, and it was just everything. It was the only thing shown on sports. Only thing shown on sports. But like I said, I only knew that one side. There's always two sides to a story. Always two sides to a story. So anyways, I'm rambling here, but it was a great episode. So the episode finishes. And suggested to watch next. I have to stay up anyways. I'm not going to bed for a couple hours because I have to take Rach to the airport anyways. So another Untold comes up, and I'm like, oh, this is sick. This is really, really cool. I'll watch another one. Know nothing about it. I see Untold, deal with the devil. Deal with the devil. I click it. I start watching, and I notice it's boxing. I'm like, okay, this is cool. The woman who it's about, Christy Martin, trailblazer, female boxer, started in the 80s. She's talking, and it's good, and it gets dark. And they don't really mention anything else, just that it's dark. And then it goes to this guy who's in jail. And he's saying shit. And he's crying. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm hooked. I'm hooked first minute in. I'm hooked. Hook, line, sinker, I'm ready. I'm ready for this. I know it's going to start potentially good and end horribly bad. With a guy in jail, yeah, that's what you're going to see. So, I'm going to give you the whole synopsis. So right now, Untold, Deal with the Devil. It's called Deal with the Devil. If you support this podcast and you listen to me, whether it be on Spotify, Apple Pod, or YouTube, this is going to be, spoiler alert, I'm saying it, spoiler alert. If you want to watch this first and then come back here, cool. If you want to just listen to this and then watch it, cool. But this is a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Okay. So let's talk about it. Christy Martin, coal miner's daughter. That's her nickname. West Virginia, born and raised. It starts out. Let me pull this up. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to pull this up. It starts out that just Christy's your typical high school girl, in the 80s, mid 80s, and she played sports. She was pretty good at sports. She just your typical high school girl. I believe she goes to college, and her friends dare her to enter this boxing like competition tournament style thing at a fairground, nothing crazy. And she goes in no experience, no nothing. And again, this is mid late 80s. Women aren't boxing, or at least you're not seeing much of it on TV or anything like that at the time. She knocks this chick out. She said it's like the greatest feeling of her life. There's nothing that compares to it, which I could imagine if you're a fighter out there, or if you love fighting, love watching fighting, no greater feeling than knocking someone out and holding your hand up, getting your hand raised. She's hooked, instantly hooked. So she starts training. And it's tough back then because no one wants to train female fighters. No one wants to train female fighters. So a friend or somebody, a promoter, contacts this guy, Jim Martin. He's a trainer. He has his own gym in Tennessee. So something that it connects. She goes to the gym with him, and he wants nothing to do with it. He doesn't want to train her. He doesn't want to train a female fighter. So he makes her spar a guy in the gym to like toughen her up, beat her up a little bit, which I thought was weird. Thought it was strange. Her mom was there. Her dog was there. And he kind of backs off. Like he wanted this guy to just knock her out and make have her never come back to the gym again, which is kind of, it's messed up. It's a very messed up situation. But he decides not to do that. He goes against it because the mom was there. Her little dog was there. So she has a good tryout at the gym, and she does well. She does extremely well, and he decides to stick with her and keep her going. It was tough in the late 80s. It was very tough to get fights. Very tough to get fights. They would get fights. They'd get paid. I think Christy was making like maybe $500 to fight here, 200 there, not making much of anything, but she was beating people, man. She was knocking people out. She was knocking women out. She was unanimous decision, majority decision. She was doing well. She was doing really, really well. And I think I could pull it up here. I have the wiki page up. She was doing really, really well. Like you could see, a lot of wins. And so she's fighting, and you see a lot of it was in Bristol, Tennessee. That was where Jim Martin's gym was. So she starts winning. She starts doing a lot of good things. You see a lot of green here. A lot of green. Win. She's doing well. At some point, as this trajectory is going up, and Jim, the training's going well. He's the full-time head coach. And like I said, she's winning. She's doing really well. Well, at some point she gets a really big win. She gets a really big win. And at that point, the fight ends. She wins. She hugs Jim, and she kissed him. She kissed him, not thinking much of it. And at that point, they start dating. There's a crazy age difference. They start dating. Now, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I forgot to say this. Christy is Christy's gay. She's gay. She likes women. And it was the late 80s, early 90s, a strange time in society where you You weren't coming out about that stuff. You were not coming out about that stuff. And that was just the time. So her parents just kind of brushed it off. No. So, like I said, kisses Jim after a fight, and they start dating. Now, like I said, as her trajectory is going up, she has great fights. She's beating women. Like you could see, TKO, TKO. She's just knocking every single person out. We're going to fast forward to the 95, 4, 5, 6 era. 95, 90, 94, 5, 6. I forget where it was. I don't have it exactly here. They get a meeting with none other than Don King. Don King, famous boxing promoter. Ali, Tyson. Like Ali and Tyson. That's all I need to say. He wasn't promoting women fighters at the time. Nobody was. So she goes, meets with Don King in his office, brings a VHS tape of her just tearing through women. The VHS tape breaks midway through the interview and the meeting. So she just starts shadowboxing, hitting this, that. Don King writes up a contract. And Jim and Christy, they wanted to talk it over and show lawyer or something or along those lines. And Don King says, "No, you're going to sign it right here." And they said, "What?" He said, "What are you making to fight right now?" 200, 300, 400, $500, whatever. This is a contract, $5,000 a fight. Take it, leave it. It's not going to be here tomorrow. Sign. She's a Don King fighter. Female. She's going to be the face of boxing for women's boxing. She's going to be the face. So, fast forward a little bit, she gets a fight. She's fighting somewhere. I forget which fight it was. And it sucks because I forget. But anyways, she gets a fight. Mike Tyson's there. Tyson loves it. The crowd's involved. Tyson says that he loved watching her fight. He meets with her. I would love for you to be on my undercard, my next pay-per-view. I'd love for you to be on the undercard. First ever female boxing match on pay-per-view. Tyson card. 1996. Vegas. Deirdre Gordy. She's from Ireland. They're going to fight. I remember the documentary was crazy. She was nervous. Don King said, "This is sink or swim right here. You're on pay-per-view, Tyson card. You're opening the card, I believe. It was somewhere, I think." They get booed coming out. No one wants to see this. It's like an attraction fight. It's females. No one really watches this, especially like primetime boxing. You're not watching this. Well, the crowd who booed in the beginning, they were on their feet that whole fight. 6 rounds, nonstop action, coming forward on both sides. The fight was incredible. I watched it back. I watched the fight in its entirety. Unbelievable fight. Those two women left everything they had on the line. It was an unbelievable fight. Christy was bleeding everywhere. If it wasn't fight of the night, it goddamn should have been. It was the best. It was the best fight on the card, start to finish, like fight wise. Best fight. So as I said, trajectory going up, only multiplied. And I forget if it was at that time or if it was a little bit before that time. She marries Jim. Like I said, crazy age difference. I believe Jim's like as old as her dad, maybe older than her dad. It was just a very strange situation. But it is what it is. They were a dynamic duo. They did really well. And it is what it is. So, like I said, trajectory's skyrocketing. Fast forward to 2001, I believe. 2001. She fights a female, Lisa Holwine. And listen, Christy was a great talker. She knew how to sell her fights. And Lisa was bigger, stronger, faster. I remember from the documentary, she said all she wanted Christy to do was walk forward, pressure, and she was going to knock her out, put her to sleep. Christy studied famous boxers, their footwork, this, that, and danced around Lisa, gets the decision, and she's still rolling. She is still rolling. Crazy. As all this is going on, I forget the timeline exactly, but at this point, she was never knocked out. She's never been knocked out. And somehow it happens that Jim is going to spar with Christy. They're going to spar. So they spar. And Jim knocks her the fuck out. Like, what? He knocked her out. Clean. Boom. Knocks her out. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? It was just a volatile. It wasn't a good relationship. It was a cover up. Like we know what this is all about. You know, like we know. So fast forward, after the Lisa fight, she gets another win. Then she calls out Layla Ali. Layla Ali has her by like 30 pounds. Like Layla's big. Christy's not very big. But it was going to be a big fight. Big self fight. So fight happens. First round. Layla's just dominating her. Caught her, put her off balance. Christy was never the same, I think, after round 1 or 2. She kept coming back to the corner, telling Jim, hey, I'm hurt. Like, I'm dizzy. I'm off balance. I'm not seeing straight. What's a good, now I'm not even saying husband here. What's a good coach, head coach, going to say if their fighter's saying, hey, I'm not feeling it. I'm not well. I'm not doing well right now. What are you going to do? You're going to throw in that towel to not, like, so your fighter doesn't get hurt. You don't want your fighter to get hurt. Okay? You don't want your fighter to get hurt. Jim says, suck it up. Go back in. Layla ends up finishing her in the 4th round. Actually, not even finishing her. Christy gets knocked down, goes on a knee, and gets the 10 count. She didn't want to continue. Okay. So from there, just the record, I mean, her record, she loses a couple in a row. So it started going downhill from there. They're both making money. They're both making a lot of money. And somehow in this situation, one of Jim's other fighters had been doing cocaine. And he confiscated it off of him. So now stuff starts going south. Jim starts doing a lot of blow. Christy starts doing blow. And it's just not good. As that's going on, Christy rekindles something that she had with a high school friend. And at that time, they started messaging each other on Facebook. Jim finds out. Christy says, hey, you could just text me. Well, Jim sees the text too. Hey, you could call me. Well, he's listening to the conversations too. So it's starting to get really fucking strange. Really fucking strange. So there's times where Christy wants to go visit this woman, and I'm blanking on her name, the high school sweetheart. I'm blanking on her name, and it's gonna piss me off. It's gonna piss me off that I forget her name, but she ends up going to see this woman in Florida. Jim basically says, hey, you go there. You're not coming back here. Like, I'll beat the shit out of you. I will kill you. Like this, that. It's getting dark. She said, okay. She left. She went to go see this friend, and he gets so fucking nuts and paranoid and weird. He goes too, and he's like watching them and shit. Like, it's just super. It's just a fucked up situation. Super weird, super strange. Well, she ends up coming home, and she's in the room. She's talking to this friend, I guess you call girlfriend, and she hears Jim sharpening a knife. She hears him sharpening a knife. She's in the room. She wants to lay down. She had a long trip. Jim comes in, has something behind his back. What is it? It's a knife. And Jim, like, if this isn't the craziest shit you're going to hear, I feel like a true crime podcast right now. Jim stabs her a couple times, 6, 7 times, I think. And she's begging. She is begging Jim, please stop, I love you. Like, I'm so sorry, I will never do this again. I'm so sorry, this, that. And as she feels the blood getting into her lungs and she can't breathe, that's when she just goes off and flips the switch, and she says, fuck you, I've never loved you. You are a psychopath. Fuck you, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Well, what does Jim do? Jim, the fucking coward that he is, he grabs her pink 9mm. As she's laying on the ground, helpless, stab wounds everywhere. He fucking cocks that gun back. I'm sorry I'm cursing a lot, but it was crazy. This documentary was crazy. You have to watch it. I'm explaining it the best I can, but you really have to watch it. Cocks it back, boom, shoots her. And he just goes off like nothing happens. I think, like, They wrestled before this. He cut his hand. He hurt his leg, this, that. But after that, after she said all that, boom, shoots her. Leaves her for dead. And he goes into the shower, cleans off. Mind blowing. Mind blowing. But craziest thing of all, she's not dead. She's not dead. So him being the psychopath, basically murderer that he is, she hears him go into the shower and she gets out of there. She gets out of the house. She goes to the street, a car passes, then that second car that comes picks her up. God bless that man. Took her to the hospital. And she lived. She lived. Jim goes on the run. Jim goes into hiding. They can't find him. A couple days later, they finally do find him. And yeah, like, how crazy. It ends up that Jim gets like second-degree murder or attempted murder, like all these crazy charges. He ends up getting like 25 years, I think. 25 years. And that would put him at 92. He could potentially get out when he is 92 years old. So, I mean, you figure it out. Through the whole court proceedings and trials and this and that, her high school girlfriend, went through it all with her. And they remained really close. They just never could be girlfriend and girlfriend. They could never be together. They could never be a couple. So they break up. And if the shit doesn't come full circle, oh, pause. Also during this time, or it was later on. It was a little later on. She wanted to come back and box. She wanted to get her 50th win. She breaks her hand in the fight. She has to get surgery. When she wakes up from surgery, she can't talk, can't walk, can't this, can't that. She had a goddamn stroke. A stroke like 2 years after she was almost murdered. And that same high school sweetheart was high school sweetheart friend, however you want to say it, was with her the whole time through all that too. But that's that. They couldn't be together. How it comes full circle, she is now, I believe, I don't know if she's married. I don't know if she's married or just in a relationship with her one-time rival, Lisa Holwine. And it's just crazy. It's a crazy scenario. They're happy together. She couldn't get that 50th win, but I thought what was really, really cool was she considers the biggest win of her life. Getting out of that situation. Her 50th win. So, Christy, you have that 50th win in my book. That's for sure. Guys, the the documentary, like, I gave you just in the top of my head timelines. Like, you have to watch this documentary. It was unbelievably done. You're getting both sides. You're hearing the goods, the best of the best, the trials, the tribulations, the not so good times in the boxing side of things. You're getting the dark, twisted sides of things. And the documentary was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable documentary. Please, like I said, you have to watch this. You have to watch this. It's incredible. And watch the other Untolds too. That's what I'm about to do after this. I'm going to edit this and get it out. That's what I'm going to be doing. So I told you I had a special podcast. This one was different, but it worked and it fit. And I had fun doing it. I'm going to get this out. It's Thursday. I'm going to get it out tonight. And I'm probably going to be back tomorrow. Real quick turnaround. We're going to talk about the fights that are coming up. Not big, but fight night card for Saturday night. And we'll talk about whatever else I want to talk about. But I know it's been a while. I was not canceled. The show goes on. Like I said, I've been pretty busy doing a lot of different things. But I'm not done with this by any means. I'm going to keep grinding, keep working, still trying to get some guests to come on. Hopefully it works out where I could get some guests, even if it's friends, just to talk about fights, talk about anything really. But I really do hope you guys enjoyed this show. Like I said, it was different. It was fun. I liked playing the journalist or the documentary movie critic. But I give this my max rating. It was an amazing documentary. Both of them, Malice at the Palace and this one. I'm gonna watch another one coming up. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them. So I'm hooked for a little while on Netflix. I'm hooked for a little while on Netflix. On YouTube, do not forget to hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe. Mark it as your favorite. Check mark it on Apple. Check mark it on Spotify, because you get the updates. You'll get the updates when my show airs. You get JRE coming up one day. You get the Fighters Walk podcast the other day. Come on, guys. Check it out. But that's going to wrap up episode number 16 of the Fighters Walk podcast, talking about Untold, Devil, Untold, Deal with the Devil. Untold, Deal with the Devil. Watch it on Netflix. It is streaming. Let me know how you liked it. Let me know your thoughts on it. Let me know if you think it's as crazy as I thought it was. Just let me know. Let me know. All right, guys. I will catch you on the next one. It's probably going to be tomorrow. Quick turnaround. We're back on the grind. Felt good to get back. Felt good to talk to you guys. It was fun. And stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day. Great evening. And I'll talk tomorrow. Peace.